Welcome to MINDSHOck. This is the long-awaited analysis. Not so long. I mean, this debate happened, what, a week? I don't know how long ago. Not that long ago. Less than a month ago. The one and only Austin WITSIT versus JERAN, who suddenly became a globe earther because he saw something in the sky. Really interesting. I'm, of course, your host, Bruce McGuire, and we will be doing the full logical analysis breakdown of this so-called debate with fallacies, super fallacies, zingers, and dingers. I'm not going to play the entire new system intro vid because it's like 15 minutes long. And we're already long overdue. A lot of glitches going on here. I think the software was anticipating so many fallacies. It just started glitching out. Hopefully, everything, the system will be able to persevere under the pressure of fallacy spew, which is very, very common in these types of so-called debates. As always, if you enjoy the podcast, you want to help support logic and reason, which is quickly going extinct in this world, as is evidenced by these so-called debates. You can donate to our PayPal. Just check the link in the description. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, and Patreon. Patreon's a good priority for case topic, logical analysis, go podcast, or requests. You could also be a guest in the podcast depending on your tier. Questions, comments, theories, thoughts, suggestions, rebuttals, debunkings of any kind, leave them in the comment section. Unless, of course, you're with us here live, then drop them in the live chat. I'll try to get to all of them. And you can also support us here on YouTube by becoming a YouTube member. All right. Yeah, Ptolemy, I do have to set up an interview with Austin WITSIT as well. Possibly the greatest modern debater. Chill, not chill. We're not really going to be discussing that. We're just breaking down the arguments or lack thereof for logical consistency. For any kind of validity and veracity within the world of logic. Logic, of course, the utilization of proper argumentation for conclusions in an effort to actually ascertain truth of reality. To all the triggered goofs out there, this isn't about whether the earth is actually flat or globe. It is simply about the arguments presented and analyzing them. All right, so let's jump right in here. I'm going to do a quick 2-second breakdown here of what we're going to be doing. 1 second here. Got to make sure the audio is good. Sometimes the sound effects are... We're going to do a test effect here. And... So, this is the debate. Let's get the scorecard here. So, we're going to be counting logical fallacies. Obviously, appeal to authority is a fallacy, false dichotomy fallacy, circular reasoning fallacy, false premise fallacies, post hoc. I mean, there's all sorts of fallacies, dozens of fallacies. I'm going to be calling them all out, counting each and every one. Now, I'm not going to stop for every fallacy, obviously. I'll stop maybe the first time whichever individual commits the fallacy and explain it. But when they do it again, I'm not going to stop it for everyone. I mean, we get into 3 digits, sometimes 4 digits. We got goofs like Michael Sartain racking up records. So, yeah, I'm not going to stop and explain every single one every single time. But I will go over the main ones, and then anybody listening, watching, can see when they're committed again and again and again. So, a super fallacy. So, our metric here is if you're drinking something, and it's enough to make you spit your drink out, that would be either a super fallacy, a zinger, or a dinger. So a zinger is basically just, it's basically just, a point on your attacker by pointing out their goofery, not necessarily an argument itself, or pointing out the lack of reasoning in your opponent. A zinger is a self-own. When you say something so dumb, exposing your own goofery. So a zinger exposes the opponent's goofery. A dinger exposes your own goofery. So super fallacies, there's a few, the technical aspect here of a super fallacy. Let me get into the, it's actually, like, we developed the system. I have a whole series on how we developed this new system. Due to Craig of Fight the Flat Earth, Craig's goofery, I mean, this guy was stacking 11 fallacies on top of each other with a single statement. I mean, this goof was committing simultaneous of the same fallacy, so we had to come up with an entirely new system of fallacies in order to oh, wait a second. We didn't do super dingers? Okay, so okay, all right. So this is a somewhat simplified system. We had an even more complicated. For people to think this is complicated, there's actually an even more complicated version. But yeah, let me get the technical. Oh wow, hold on 1 second here. I'll actually bring up the graphic real quick, just so people have a reference. So super fallacies are a major single fallacy, like something so ridiculous it's a super fallacy, or 3 or more simultaneous fallacies, or 2 or more of the same fallacies. We also had a combination multiplier. You can check out the Matt Walsh defense of the moon landing for the full system. This is a simplified system. And then we also have, we're going to calculate an FPM rate at the end, fallacies per minute. Okay, so anybody have any questions before we jump right in? Got Flat Earth Dave in the chat says, I didn't realize I would have to study for this one. Alright. Run Boston Bear says, logic deserves this sort of system. Yeah, so this is the simplified system. The full system, you can check out, the Matt Walsh defense of the moon landing. So if nobody has any further questions on the system, we'll jump. Let me just do a quick test to make sure everybody can hear the sounds. Did everybody hear those sound effects? Let me know if everybody heard the bells for the fallacies. Okay. Run Boston Bear says the louder option sounds better. Okay, Flat Bob says, okay, so we should be good to go. Let's get started.
Okay, what is up, guys? Sorry for the delay. Everything went wrong for the first time right before this debate. 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 Thousand times. So here we are. Jared and I are going to be debating: is the Earth a globe? So yeah, I'll just go ahead and hand it over to the moderator, which is Sean Griffin from Keenan Context.
Welcome, everyone. This is the infamous debate: is the Earth a globe? Jaron Campanella from Jeranism. Is the Earth a globe? Austin WITSIT. WITSIT gets it. Austin, do you have the WITSIT gets it? 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 Austin, do you have the
For the first time right before this debate. This should be interesting. For the first we wanted to give you guys a chance to get here. This should be interesting. So this is the long-awaited debate that has been requested by everyone 1,000 times. So here we are. Jared and I are going to be debating: is the Earth a globe? So yeah, I'll just go ahead and hand it over to the moderator, which is Sean Griffin from Keenan Context.
Welcome, everyone. This is the infamous debate: is the Earth a globe? Jaron Campanella
Okay, what is up, guys? Sorry for the delay. Okay, what is up, guys? Sorry for the delay. For the first time. Okay, what is up, guys? Sorry for the delay. We wanted to give you guys a chance to get here. So, this is the long-awaited debate. So, this is the long requested by everyone 1,000 times. Here we are. Jared and I are going to be debating: is the Earth a globe? Everyone are going to be debating: is. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and hand it over. Debating is. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and hand it over. Debating is. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and hand it over. Debating is. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and hand it over. Debating is. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and hand it over. Debating is. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and hand it over. Debating is. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and hand it over. Debating is. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and hand it over. Debating is. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and hand it over. Debating is. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and hand it over. Debating is. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and hand it over. Debating is. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and hand it over. Debating is. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and hand it over. Debating is. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and hand it over. Okay, what is up, guys? Sorry for the delay. Okay, what is up, guys? Sorry for the delay. For the first time. Okay, what is up, guys? Sorry for the delay. For the first time. Okay, what is up, guys? Sorry for the delay. For the first time. Okay, what is up, guys? Sorry for the delay. For the first time. Okay, what is up, guys? Sorry for the delay. For the first time. Okay, what is up, guys? Sorry for the delay. For the first time. Okay, what is up, guys? Sorry for the delay. For the first time. Okay, what is up, guys? Sorry for the delay. For the first time. Okay, what is up, guys? Sorry for the delay. For the first time. Okay, what is up, guys? Sorry for the delay. For the first time. Okay, what is up, guys? Sorry for the delay. For the first time. Okay, what is up, guys? Sorry for the delay. Okay, what is up, guys? Sorry for the delay. For the first time. Okay, what is up, guys? Sorry for the delay.
Originally, the difference is that I actually meant it for you. Others did as well. They meant it for you. Escaped. Others did as well. They meant it for you. Escaped. Others did as well. They meant it for you. Escaped. Others did as well. They meant it for you. Escaped. Others did as well. They meant it for you. Escaped. Others did as well. They meant it for you. Escaped. Others did as well. They meant it for you. Escaped. Others did as well. They meant it for you. Escaped. Others did as well. They meant it for you. Escaped. Others did as well. They meant it for you. Escaped. Others did as well. They meant it for you. Escaped.
Okay, what is up, guys? Sorry for the delay. Okay, what is up, guys? Sorry for the delay. For the first time. Okay, what is up, guys? Sorry for the delay. We wanted to give you guys a chance to get here. So, this is the long-awaited debate. So, this is the long requested by everyone 1,000 times. 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 Requested by everyone. We are. Jared and I are going to be debating: is the Earth a globe? We are. Jared and I are going to be debating: is the Earth a globe? We are. Jared and I are going to be debating: is the Earth a globe? We are. Jared and I are going to be debating: is the Earth a globe? We are. Jared and I are going to be debating: is the Earth a globe? We are. Jared and I are going to be debating: is the Earth a globe? We are. Jared and I are going to be debating: is the Earth a globe? We are. Jared and I are going to be debating: is the Earth a globe? We are. Jared and I are going to be debating: is the Earth a globe? We are. Jared and I are going to be debating: is the Earth a globe? We are. Jared and I are going to be debating: is the Earth a globe? We are. Jared and I are going to debating is the Earth a globe? We are. Jared and I are going to be debating is the Earth a globe? We are. Jared and I are going to be debating is the Earth a globe? We are. Jared and I are going to be debating is the Earth a globe? We are. Jared and I are going to be debating is the Earth a globe? We are. Jared and I are going to be debating is the Earth a globe? We are. Jared and I are going to be debating is the Earth a globe? We are. Jared and I are going to be debating is the Earth a globe? We are. Just go ahead and hand it over to the moderator, which is Sean Griffin from Keenan Context. The moderator, which is Sean Griffin from Keenan Context.
Welcome, everyone. This is the infamous debate, Is the Earth a Globe? JERAN Campanella of JERANism. Austin WITSIT of WITSIT Gets It. Austin, do you have the screen? It shows just you right now.
Well, for them, it shows all three of us.
Okay.
Well, for them, it shows all three.
So welcome, everyone. This is possibly round one of this epic debate going down. Tonight is the Earth a Globe? And I think JERAN Campanella is going to be in the affirmative position. So he's going to go first. The format for the debate will be 10-minute openings, 7-minute rebuttals, followed by 30 minutes of open cross-exam between the two interlocutors. And then we're going to be taking questions from the audience for a 30-minute Q&A. So be sure to hold your questions till about midway through the debate. That way they don't get lost in the abundance of questions flowing in. And JERAN, if you're ready, we can go ahead and hear your opening.
Yep, I'm gonna set my timer so I have a little clock here going, and we'll be good to go. Okay, and we said 10 minutes. Okay, we will, can we edit this one? Good enough. All right, and let me know, can you just tell me when we have like 5 minutes and then 1 minute or something?
Can do.
Thank you much. Are we good to go?
Yeah, I'll start the time when you start your speaking.
Sounds good. All right, so thanks everybody for being here. Obviously, thanks for inviting me, Austin. Thanks for moderating, Sean. I know it was last second. Much appreciated. So, and let me begin by saying hello to the former colleagues, friends I have. I wish it was under better circumstances. Unfortunately, as you know, tonight I'm debating somebody I once stood next to in the flat earth community, Austin WITSIT. We ran summits, Globebusters, we spoke at conferences, we used a microphone and speaker at Venice Beach. We claimed to seek truth, and the same I thought could be said for all of you. Originally, the difference is that I actually meant it. Others did as well. They've escaped the flat earth. We weren't here for a social movement. While I might agree with the ideas of that, those can be done in other ways. We were here for truth and a scientific truth. Once that truth is gone, that's it, game over. So I spent a decade researching, presenting, defending the flat earth model. Why? Well, because I thought it was true. So sadder still, Austin and I both went on a trip in December to do what we both thought was helping the flat earth, and in my mind at least, by showing strong evidence for or against it. When I encountered the real world observations that flat earth can't explain, I didn't ignore it. I tested it. I went down, took action. I went to Antarctica, watched a 24-hour sun with my own eyes, circled for 4 days. It wasn't NASA. It wasn't Dave Weiss's plasma sun that he got from a Microsoft whistleblower. It's not hearsay. It's a real observation, 100% above board, despite what you hear from all the great flat earth researchers. And what did I find? I found a model that predicts and explains and matches reality exactly. And it sure as hell isn't the flat model. I thought people would be adults and we would say we were wrong when the evidence was dropped in our lap. And thanks to Robbie, Paul, Patricia, Austin Thompson, Alex Stein, and the others.
Okay. Okay. Was the audio good? Is the audio still good? Did everybody hear all the dings? Did everybody hear all the dings? So he just came out of the gate with 16 fallacies. All right. Okay. So the audio, they were low volume. All right. Well, some people don't like them really loud, but okay. So let's break this down here. How does JERAN, this just divine sole arbiter of truth, how does he know it wasn't like a plasma sun, a hologram? Like, how does he know though? Like, if the world is if the Earth realm is some kind of computer simulation with advanced tech, like, how would he know that? Other than his hallucination here, other than his 16 fallacy stack hallucination. Because he's claiming here, with some kind of circular reasoning, false dichotomy, like, false premise. I mean, it's kind of insane how the goof is hallucinating to be the sole arbiter of truth and to have all the knowledge in the universe. Because if it is some kind of hologram, like, how would anybody be able to check? Again, I'm not saying it is. But if it is some kind of holographic device, first of all, second of all, like, and we'll get into this later, how does JERAN even know where he went in relation to the other continents? Like, the goof gets on a plane, he gets taken somewhere. Now, maybe he tracked whatever portion of the flight with a compass or whatever, but wherever he ended up, how does he know where he ended up is in relation to the other continents or where he came from? And how does he know the model all adds up? Like, the level of goofery here is quite unprecedented, because unlike other globe earthers who just appeal to faith, in scientism, and that everything is exactly as is told in indoctrination facilities, on the idiot box, etc., this goof actually spent a lot of time learning learning about, supposedly, about basic logic, like what are assumptions, what's the scientific method, what can't and can't be verified. Now, again, I don't know when he became a flat earther, and I don't know why. Like, I don't know if he's ever, like, when he became a flat earther, did he say, oh, I'm a flat earther because of long-range photography, because of laser tests, because of infrared, because, nothing matches up on the globe model as presented. Now, that doesn't mean it's not a globe, but the arguments presented for why it's a globe, I mean, those are obviously bunk for anybody familiar with the scientific method. Not that the conclusion isn't true for all the triggered goofs. We're just talking about the argumentation. The arguments presented, do they align with the scientific method? Like, without making assumptions and stacking fallacies. Like, where are the controls here? Like, where are the controls? Like, how does JERAN, in all his goofery, like, how does he know what a holographic sun would look like versus a non-holographic? Like, has he seen both options? Like, does he know the exact behavior of a holographic sun? Because, I mean, that's the issue here, and I don't know if he's playing stupid to pretend to not understand that. I don't know if he went full retard. I don't know if he's a paid-off shill just reading from a script at this point, but we're just examining the arguments, because how does one know the difference between a holographic sun device operating in a particular region of the world versus a non-holographic sun? All right, so let's continue here. Flapop says, I want to know how JERAN went from being super logical to super fallacious. I'd love to see someone out his old self debate his new... Yeah, that'd be cool if someone did like an AI, or not even necessarily AI, just overlaid old JERAN versus new JERAN. But yeah, the level of goofery and hallucinating that you would or wouldn't know. I mean, that's a curious narcissistic level of goofery for JERAN to hallucinate that he would be able to know the difference.
And there's still some more people who want to remain unnamed, and still others that maybe nobody knows their names. So I'm happy at least that people can admit when they're wrong. But yes, for nearly a decade, I was one of the most vocal proponents of this theory about flat Earth, and it's sad to be here. I know there's a lot of people that I respect very much who are speaking at this event, who have been friends of mine for a long time, haven't talked to them in 6 months because they abandoned me just like everybody else, because I went down to Antarctica and came back and told you the truth. Can you imagine? You're all truthers, and you turned your back on me for going on a trip and telling you the truth. So what do you think that does to my opinion of the truthers of the flat Earth? But what separates me from the community is exactly that I will follow the evidence even if it leads me somewhere uncomfortable. I'm not here representing NASA. I'm not here on behalf of any government. I'm just here on my own telling you my observations and what they mean to me. What is this debate not about, I guess, is, or what, let me get to this part. So
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, that was my bad. The bells got muted there, but it should be fixed now. So yeah, he's up to 29 fallacies. What was that, like a minute? 1 or 2 minute opening? So yeah, again, he's pretending to be the sole arbiter of truth. So there's a difference between saying, oh, I saw something that looked like the sun behave a particular way in an unverified location relative to other locations. That's fine. I mean, that's kind of what Austin Whitsitt did, right? Austin kind of said, okay, something did this. Okay, that's an observation. But to hallucinate, the truth. Like the narcissistic goofer. Is JERAN really this stupid, or is he reading from a script? I don't know. To hallucinate that you know the truth and you're the sole arbiter of truth based on an observation with many assumptions behind it. So he basically just stacked so many assumptions behind the observation, completely abandoning the scientific method. Because this goof is saying he's going where the evidence leads him, but how is he parsing that evidence? By abandoning the scientific method? Is that logical or scientific in any way? By completely abandoning any semblance of controls. Again, how would he know the difference between what a holographic sun would look like and a star sun would look like? And even if it is a real sun, if you don't know where you are in relation to the other continents, what does that mean? Now, Austin, you can chime in here. I think I asked you this somewhere on how did you document... Like you said, you did some kind of a documentation of your travel from one area to another. Now, that still wouldn't necessarily prove, like once you got to a certain area of Antarctica, how does that prove the layout of the entire Earth? Like JERAN and a lot of these globe goofs, Like, they just have a fundamental lack of understanding of how the scientific method works. Assuming a particular model is not the scientific method. Just assuming all the continents are where they say they are. Because, I mean, let's look at the maps presented. Let's just do a quick aside here on what is presented by the powers that be. By the New World Order, by the Rockefeller Rothschild textbooks that JERAN is now bootlicking. Because this is really important in the context of everything. Let me get a good example here. So there's an excellent website. Now again, these are all, I mean, I don't know how any of this is verified either, but if you go to Geospatial World, they're also referencing thetruesize.com. So let's just look at this for 1 second here, because goofs like JERAN, they just throw all this logic completely out the window in order to bootleg. So, relative to maps and sizes, like, the continents, look at the actual positions versus where they're located on a map. Again, this is Geospatial World. This is all official narrative stuff. And you can see none of these make any sense on a globe because they wouldn't fit. So all of the continents are misrepresented on all of the globes. Let me, I want to get a better example here. But this is just an example of how clueless scientists and bootlickers, they just accept whatever's thrown out. But I mean, look at the size adjustments you'd have to make. Like, none of it really makes any sense. I mean, the most obvious one that a lot of people, cite. I mean, let's actually look at Antarctica here for context. So, like, goofs like JERAN hallucinate. They know where they are. They know the size of Antarctica. They know where it is in reference to other continents. And they hallucinate that it would all work perfectly on what is presented in all these maps, none of which are really accurate. Now, I'm not claiming that this true size is accurate either, but goofs like JERAN, who now bootlick official positions, even these are all official positions, just pointing out size inaccuracy on maps. So here's the most obvious one, which is Russia and Africa. So you can see how all the continents are stretched and moved on various maps and globes, etc. And these brain-dead bootlickers, now including JERAN, they hallucinate that all of the, the daylight, nighttime, it all makes sense. It all makes sense on the globe. When all of these maps, globe and otherwise, all of them are changed. All of them are switched up by drastic amount. It's not like we're talking like a 1-2% difference. I mean, look at this. Look at this. I mean, this is insane. How they just shrink Africa on all these maps. Not to mention, like, a lot of globes are different as well. So, just the level of goofery and hallucinating because the sun did something in a certain area of Antarctica. You can't verify the area. You can't verify the size. You can't verify the area relative to other areas. So what does it all prove? According to JERAN, because he watched something in a place he couldn't verify, at a size he couldn't verify in reference to other sizes and distances he couldn't verify. All of a sudden, he knows the truth now. All of a sudden, JERAN is the sole arbiter of truth. He knows what is or isn't a hologram. And, yeah, he knows all the continent sizes in relation to each other, despite what's been presented completely inaccurate over the past century. I mean, wow. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. All right, WITSIT says, really all we could use is different types of compasses on the flight that showed we were going south from Antarctica the whole way. Everything else was claimed satellite data, assuming globe. Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, so there's really no way to verify any of this. Flat Earth Dave in the chat says, any explanation for a flat Earth sun, no matter how far-fetched, makes far more sense than a heliocentric sun made of gas and a vacuum. Oh, man. Well, not only that, you know, if we take a stroll down memory lane in the cult of scientism, one second, I'm trying to get this. Let's see. Yeah, if we take a stroll down scientism memory lane, I mean, look at the variation here of how far the sun even is. I mean, it's pretty wild. Pretty wild. I mean, look at this. You go from 3 million to over 100 million. And this is missing a few also. There were a few other measurements that this chart doesn't even exist. They're just going back and forth like crazy, millions and millions. So the level of goofery here that JERAN is now defending as he's entered the cult of scientism, completely throwing out all logic and reason in the scientific method.
My opponent, obviously Austin, I think Austin's sharp. I think he's articulate. I think he's smart. I think he's undeniably passionate. I used to admire that passion, and I do, but I think that the passion without precision is just noise. Austin's approach is a philosophical approach, I believe, more than it is scientific. And here's what we can expect Austin to do tonight, at least in my opinion. He's not going to answer my questions because he's going to leave us with no picture of how the world works, or how it looks, or how it operates. No idea of its layout, no understanding or no clue about how anything works. He won't offer any explanation since flat Earth doesn't have any. It will instead say the default position is that we live on a flat plane. But throughout history, we've already corrected that error. The globe is a counterintuitive suggestion. I agree with that. However, it is true. So he also won't at any time offer a working map or model, won't provide a model that matches all known observations, won't explain how you can have circumpolar stars in the south, seen from the continents, the 3 continents, explain why the north at 80 degrees are seeing an inverse but identical observation today that we made 6 months ago to the day, predict sunrise and sunset times for every location on Earth with a flat Earth geometry, or tell us how the sun stays invisible for 24 hours at a time in Antarctica unless he invokes refraction or reflection.
JERAN, real quick. JERAN, I paused the time for you.
You know what's really impressive here is that wasn't exactly verbal diarrhea, but it was a stack of that might have been the most fallacies in a non-fast-paced verbal diarrhea sartine-like delivery. I mean, has anybody else amassed 62 fallacies in an intro? I mean, that was impressive. So again, circular reasoning fallacy, pretending to know the truth while rattling off complete false premises. I mean, false premise after false premise, and a bunch of straw men. I mean, clearly, WITSIT's addressed all of that, and JERAN knows that, right? So is this just clear deception? Austin, what do you think? You've known JERAN for quite some time, right? Billy in the chat says paid or threatened. Yeah, but why? So it's got to be more than that, though, right? Because let's say he's paid or threatened. Like, why would he pick he clearly said that, I mean, Austin goes over all these basics in almost every time in every flat earth debate. And so JERAN either once understood it or once pretended to understand these basics. And now, I mean, even if he's paid or threatened, like, why would he choose the most obvious, like, clearly false statements to make? Like, he could obfuscate. I mean, Sartain obfuscates and spams diversion fallacies and verbal. Like, he could have done that, but he picked the most obvious false premises. Like, we just went over the maps that he's hallucinating are all accurate, that are all inaccurate. Admittedly so, inaccurate. Flat Earth Dave says, saying Jay got paid off or threatened is a theory. It seems logical, but could it be something else, perhaps a spiritual thing? I mean, I don't know. It's really tough. I mean, do we have to start going down the split personality rabbit holes? Does JERAN have a full retard personality that wasn't activated? So if he got MK Ultra'd at any point, Austin, how much time alone... Were there opportunities for MK Ultra sessions during your trip to Antarctica? Like how much free time did you guys have? And was JERAN interacting with other shady individuals? I mean, we need Austin here to set us straight on this. Plain and Simple Truth says, I don't always vape. When I do, it's in Antarctica. Flat Pop says, let's not forget the Masonic pick with half their shirts off, making the black-white checkerboard pattern and the one boot. Bill says, is it true Duffy took over his church from a suspect in JonBenet's murder? Supposedly some kind of... Yeah, this gets dark. This gets really dark. So if you haven't checked out the latest episode in the JonBenet Ramsey case, believe it or not, there is a guy who people were kind of... There have been a lot of on-yard theories. This guy was the head of a church. Supposedly former members whistle blew on him involving other shootings. They're involved in the FBI. Supposedly they know something, and they think he's responsible for JonBenet Ramsey's murder. They also think he could have been some kind of MK Ultra CIA handler. Now, if Duffy took over that church, is Duffy MK Ultra-ing JERANism? I mean, is that the rabbit hole we're going with? WITSIT says, technically, but he was with me practically the entire time, never more than an hour apart, probably. Okay, next question, WITSIT. At which point did he change his stance? Was it while you were still in Antarctica, or whatever is being passed off, whatever area you were in, wherever that was? Or did he change his stance upon coming back from the trip, at which point he could have been MK Ultra'd at any point after returning from the trip, right? Kill the Bank says, I hope he's playing everyone right now. He's going to get a bunch of Globers to start following them. Then slowly but surely we'll get them all to convert to Flat Earth. Oh, a 4D chess game. Would that be giving JERAN too much credit to believe that he's playing 4D chess here? Okay, who has the timeline of JERAN all of a sudden saying, you know, he's the sole arbiter of truth, and he can tell holograph suns from non-holograph suns, and he can, you know, tell what all the continents are in relation to each other. So WITSIT says, on the flight back, when we were getting our bags at the airport, he had a tear in his eye, And I went and talked to him, and he told me he changed his mind on the flight back, thinking about everything. Okay. So he changed his mind on the actual airplane. Huh. Now, this is important information, because if there were no windows for MK Ultra, unless he was MK Ultra before the trip. So MK Ultra programming is like Manchurian Candidate style. I mean, it can be triggered and activated at later points. Some people actually believe JERAN was a planted shill from day one. And this was all planned beforehand. So, yeah. Yeah, this is weird, though. This is weird. This is really weird. But yeah, JERAN's possibly on track for a record-breaking set of fallacies here.
Before we started, you said you were going to minimize yourself. Are you thinking you're showing something right now?
No, I'm not showing anything yet.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
Yeah.
I'll resume the time.
Okay, thanks. So one of the biggest problems is that I've seen is that the flat Earth has become somewhat of a cult. So why did I leave it? Well, I left it not because I was debunked, not because I lost a debate or because I was paid off or because I was got tired of fighting. I left because I did something that very few in this community are willing to do. That's testing our conception of the Earth. Think of what the flat Earth has brought in 10 years. It's been 10 years. We have brought nothing to the world. We have invented nothing. We have increased the knowledge of nothing. We have just spun our wheels and ran on a hamster wheel and then got off and been like really proud of ourselves. But when you look back, you didn't go anywhere. You didn't do anything. We didn't bring anything to the world. And there's a certain point where you need to say, hey, shouldn't we have something by now? Shouldn't we have something? So I tested my...
Hadouken!
Yeah, technically that was a bunch of super fallacies, because he went more than 3 back-to-back, so that'd be a bunch, but I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, because he wasn't talking that fast. So, wow. So he... Man. This is gonna take forever. So he thinks flat earthers have done nothing by advocating for the scientific method? By holding scientism's feet to the fire and exposing the illogicality and promoting actual science. Again, even if the flat earthers are all wrong, let's assume for the sake of argument, the flat earthers are all wrong. They have brought more to the table for logic and reason and the scientific method than any other, I would say any other, what would you call it, like a niche fringe movement or whatever. Actually holding preconceived notions of the main tenets of the faith of scientism. Before flat earthers, groups were still hallucinating that boats go over the curve. Again, even if the earth is a globe, obviously the boats aren't going over the curve. So, the amount of true science being promoted by flat earthers, even if they're all wrong, is far more than the so-called globers have been doing, or the anti-flat earther goofs that have been humiliating themselves in all of these debates. Flat Earth Dave says, does your counter support 4 digits? You might have a problem by part 12. It does indeed. We can go 5 digits. Make It Known says, JERAN showed on many occasions this is a realm full of deceit. That was a good contribution to this realm. Flatbob says, seeing something in the sky doesn't make the ground curve. It literally doesn't matter if the sun did figure 8s. It don't make the earth a ball. Especially when you don't know the continent sizes, or where the continents are in relation to each other and where you are making the sun observation. This is such basic logic. Am I just going insane? Like, this is preschool logic. Like, how can anyone hallucinate an observation of something that looks like the sun, whatever the sun is, or however big it is, however far away it is, How would that prove anything about anything when even the so-called official maps all have different continent sizes and positions? I mean, is this not preschool logic 101? Am I crazy here? Like, this is going to be 20 hours on going over preschool logic. I mean, I'm not sure I can handle this. Boston Ball Hater says it doesn't make curvature reappear. I mean, I'm just not following JERAN here. I mean, how many theories can we come up? Was he always full retard and he just pretended to understand? Like, was he a real flat earth grifter? I mean, I don't know. Flat Bob says JERAN was defending the Katy Perry space flight. Really tells you all you need to know. So is he just full-on coincidence theorist now? Is he just like, you know, kind of like woke, libtard goof coincidence theorist? Just taking the official idiot box narrative, mainstream position on everything? I mean, I really don't know what's going on here. Did he get MK Ultra before the flight to Antarctica and then got activated? Zetetic says, I think he was a real flat earth grifter. The backstory is the mystery. All right, so just for reference, we are 7 minutes in to a 2-hour plus debate, and he's at 73 fallacies. And I'm giving him the major benefit of the doubt. I didn't even count all of his super fallacies, because technically 3 back-to-back fallacies is a super fallacy. I mean, I'm really trying to be generous here. I mean, in the chat, feel free if you really want. I mean, he didn't really do simultaneous fallacies or stacks. He just went back-to-back for 73 almost in a row with very few breaks. But I'm really being charitable here to JERAN.
Conception of the Earth, I went to Antarctica, I witnessed the 24-hour sun. I saw it with my own eyes. It means that the South is not a lie. We'll get into that. But let's talk about the so-called research that was done around the response to the final experiment. Spoiler alert, there wasn't any. No investigation, no travel, no counter-experiments, just knee-jerk denial, memes, name-calling, lazy live streams from basements with a globe and trash and Dave Weiss's app back on the digital Ouija board. Instead of being met with genuine curiosity, my trip to Antarctica is something this community has claimed that they wanted for years. This was something that people pushed for, wanted, said was impossible. We went and did it, but instead it was treated like betrayal. Why? Because I didn't come back with a blurry GoPro clip of an ice wall. Instead, I came back with something far more dangerous to flat Earth, and that's the truth. I watched the sun circle my head for 4 straight days. I recorded it, we live streamed it, we showed angles, timestamps, shadows, sunspots, you name it, all things that wouldn't exist as we saw them on a flat Earth. And so what do I get for that? Shill, actor, Freemason, CGI. The usual default settings of belief systems that can't survive contact with reality. This has opened my eyes to what the truth community really is. If this is the kind of research that they do about the Antarctic trip, then think of all the things that I thought they were researching correctly before. And it becomes a little bit like a cult when you can't question the doctrine, you can't update the model, you can't accept conflicting evidence, and you sure as hell can't be. You notice that. It's Scientology with memes, basically. So here's my evidence focus area. Number 1, I want to remind everybody that today's date is 6 months to the day that we filmed the 24-hour sun. Why is that important? Well, because we can actually go watch the time lapse of the sun circling us right to left in the south. If we went today to Google Earth and went to 80 degrees north, we would see the exact opposite observation in the sky. Everything identical, 35 degrees at its high, 15 degrees at its low, moving left to right this time. So how is it that we have places in the world that are symmetrical and upside down from each other? There's only one shape that could possibly be, and it's not flat. If the Earth is flat, the South has to be a lie, period. There's no getting around that. You can't have an opposite of the North like we're taught, and then say that the Earth is flat, but it still works that way. No, it wouldn't work that way. So if we went down there and we saw that the South was not a lie, then that's pretty good evidence that the Earth is what we were taught. So if you're unaware of it, it's time you figured it out. If the Earth is flat, then the South cannot be what we were taught. Therefore, if it is exactly what we were taught, then guess what the shape of the Earth is? So in December 2024, I knew the following. The South is either a lie, or we were wrong. So I decided to take a free trip to check. And throughout this debate, I will be focusing on a few main points. Each of them is a dagger in the heart of the flat Earth model. It's the reason that I switched. It sucks. It's the last thing anybody wants to do. It's the worst thing I've ever had to do. However, I'm a truther. So despite the people yelling and screaming and people lying about me, so-called truthers, Steve Falconer blocking me, or you name it, Dave Weiss blocking me, no contact, these people are not truthers. If they were truthers, wouldn't you want to know what JERAN has to say? This guy was a flat earther for 10 years and now he's flipped. Let's listen to him. Nope. Instead, you all blocked me. You all refused to listen.
Oh man, is anybody else reeling right now? That was definitely the most fallacious. I don't think he's done. That was the most fallacious opener in any flat Earth debate. I mean, wow, his FPM. He's gonna beat Sartain in FPM. I mean, I don't see how he can't, unless he doesn't say another word this entire debate. Like, how is he not beating Sartain in FPM? I mean, and just think about the level of narcissism for him to think everybody wants to know what he says. No, everybody heard what he said. Everybody listened to what he said. Like, is he pretending all these people blocked him before he explained his position or spammed fallacies as his position? Like, the level of goofery is insane, as if he's the sole arbiter of truth, as if only he knows what a holographic or non-holographic sun would look like. And again, notice, all he did was spam circular reasoning, false premise presuppositions about where on Earth you would be in relation to other places on Earth, and what that would mean for the shape of the Earth without knowing those positions or verifying any of those positions. That's his whole argument, is an appeal to authority, an authority which admits that the continent sizes and positions are not accurate. But he's pretending they're all accurate when they admit that they're not. I mean, the level of goofery here really is unprecedented. I mean, this is crazy. Lord Racer says, JERAN is the CEO of fallacy. That's funny. I haven't seen that before. Zetetic says, only JERAN's logic matters. It's so damn weird. Fallacy goof level 1000. Oh, yeah. We have a request. We have a request here for a clip summarizing JERAN's performance here.
Fallacy. Fallacies, 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 fallacies. Fallacies, 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 fallacies.
Because you're in an echo chamber. That's what you've built for yourself. It's the only way flat Earth survives, is if you sit in that echo chamber and repeat each other and pretend that Steve Falconer's video did anything other than prove the globe. The South Celestial Pole is visible from the South continents. It rotates just like the North Celestial Pole, but clockwise instead. The South Pole itself is a geographic location. It's verified by directional convergence and solar angles. The reverse sun and moon motion, easily explained by simply saying the word sphere. Tropic of Capricorn behavior, curving to the left, not to the right, easily explained by saying the word sphere. Southern star trails, matching observations that only make sense with a spherical rotating Earth. Circumpolar stars in the south that would never work on a flat Earth, impossible, but they work perfectly when you say the word sphere. Sunrise and sunset, left to right, setting and rising, predicted on a globe, unexplainable, and a paradox on flat Earth. The apparent fake second refracted something cop-out sun is basically the only out that the flat Earth has, is to introduce apparent suns, second suns, third suns, reflected suns, even though that's not how the world works. So my final thoughts is, thank you. Austin, I know you too want the truth. So being that we saw the same thing, I think it's time that we figure out how you can see differently than I do now. If the globe accounts for every single observation that we saw on the trip, and the flat Earth didn't account for any, it failed. It was disproven. It was falsified. Then I have to ask you, Austin, why you would remain in the camp that has nothing, and is that still you being a truther? But at the end of the day, I have something that he does not really. It's an explanation that actually works. So to the audience, I'm not asking you to believe me. I just ask you to think, to test, to observe, to not just discount me outright. Listen, learn, and take it in, and then go and do your own observations. I've got evidence tonight that you can do on your own. You don't need NASA. You don't need authority. You can figure out by the end of today what the shape of the Earth is. And we were wrong. It's okay. Guess what? I'm a truth seeker. I told you guys that we were looking for the shape of the Earth. We found it. Let's move on. Let's get over it. Let's get past it. Thank you.
Oh, oops. The sound effects were muted there again. I'll fix it for next time. But yeah, so the goof almost racked up 199 fallacies in 12 minutes. Or maybe it was 10 minutes. I don't know how. I think it was a 10-minute, somewhere around 10 minutes. 199 and I was really charitable with the super fallacies. I didn't even count a ton of them at the beginning. But, yeah, once he started spewing faster, yeah, I mean, I couldn't not count them. So, yeah, I mean, this is a new record. 199 in the introduction alone. Wow. Flat Earth Dave says, the fact that everyone turned on JERAN must mean they are all wrong, and JERAN is the only smart one. Groupthink Skeptic says, I thought they all said that looking up doesn't tell you what is below you before they went. Yeah, kind of interesting, isn't it? Yeah, Sphinx Bear, he actually had more than 26 super fallacies. I was just being really charitable at the beginning. I was giving him the benefit of the doubt because he wasn't talking that fast. But he picked up the pace, and there's only so much I can do. Alright, so Groupthink Skeptic says, I think JERAN is betting that YouTube will promote him as much as Professor Dave. So is this just basic selling out? But if it is, why would he use, like, the most embarrassing, humiliating arguments? Like, why would he not obfuscate? Like, clearly, I mean, I don't know. If he's not full retard, he could clearly obfuscate points and, like, kind of dodge making points and exact statements. But, like, he's picking the dumbest, like, literally the dumbest globe arguments for his position. I mean, is it humiliation ritual? I mean, I guess, that's another viable option, because this level of humiliation, I mean, this is not, like, there's no reason, even if he went globe, there's no reason why he has to humiliate himself to this level on the globe side. So it's curious. Flat Earth Dave says, to Bill, you might be thinking of the theory that Robbie, Paul, and Patricia, who were all involved with a scam crypto, flipped because of that. Okay. So is there a theory that they're cooperating with authorities or whatever for a lesser sentence by trying to curb Flat Earth, so to speak? That's interesting. Bill says, Bruce, no one ever claimed JERAN had any intelligence. I actually thought he was fairly sharp, deceptively so based on his appearance, on the Michael Sartain debate. Like, he actually made some fair points, and he got some zingers on Sartain. Yeah, that's what's weird. Flapop says, the thing that's ridiculous is that JERAN himself has already debunked the very arguments that he's making here in his opener. It's retarded. Make It Known says, Bruce, did JERAN ever promote your videos for other debates while he was still a flat earther? Did he ever admire your work? I don't know, actually. That's a question for Flat Earth Dave. I know Flat Earth Dave plugged a lot of the MindShock stuff. I don't know if JERAN did. Does anybody know? I have no idea. FLX says they kidnapped his dog like Lex in the Superman movie, made him flip. That's a viable theory, I guess. But still, why would he be using the most embarrassing arguments, though? Like, why would he not try to obfuscate? Like, I don't know. Flat Earth Dave says no idea regarding what JERAN in relation to... Yeah, that is curious. That's curious. I don't know.
All right, you are muted.
Yep.
So I'm trying to make sure we're right. So it's rebuttals right now. Do I do my opening right now or my rebuttal?
Not sure.
You do your opening now, and then you guys will do your rebuttals, just starting with JERAN.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Let me replace. Okay, cool. I don't have a timer. Here, I'll set a timer.
I got a timer here.
Okay, yeah, just let me know when I'm getting close or whatever. It's cool.
Yeah, I'll call out the 1 minute mark.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna do this anyway. All right. Okay, cool. All right. So yes, JERAN and I are obviously have been friends for quite a while, and we did. It is somewhat poetic that we're doing this at the summits, which we used to run together, and we did indeed go to Antarctica. So I am going to have to just. It's a debate, you know, and so I'm just going to have to do what we do in debates. So I will lay this out. I'll save a lot of the stuff I maybe would have said for the rebuttal, period. But to lay out kind of the issue with the South Pole claim and what happened in Antarctica, right? It's really simple. It's just an illogical premise, right? Because it affirms the consequent. And in its core, it's an appeal to incredulity. This is why I did not flip to the globe. That is my answer, is that to maintain logical consistency, I could not have flipped on all the logical foundation, the evidences, the refutations, simply because I, at one point, didn't understand how something worked. If I were to say, oh, well, I can't see how this would work on a flat Earth, therefore it can't be flat, therefore it must be a globe, that's called an appeal to incredulity, meaning I don't understand it, so it can't be true. And this is a very dangerous fallacy, right? This, if we applied that standard to everything else in the world, then we would have never made any type of progression. So that's like my core issue with it is the people I have seen flip and ask them, they're just articulating to me that they don't understand how it could work on a flat Earth. And that kind of leads into the next part, right, which is that they shift the burden that I would say that the globe holds over to me or a flat earther, right, shifting the burden of proof, which is the person that challenges or denies your positive assertion, you're asking them to prove that it isn't true. So yes, it is correct. I will say that the flat Earth is the default position because it is. I think JERAN is going to be honest, more honest than most people, right? So when we typically debate this conversation, so I would imagine he would acknowledge that. The default position is that the Earth is a stationary plane. He said that we figured it out over time, that we've been able to replace it. Like we can discuss that, right? But the default position is that the Earth is stationary. The default position is that the Earth is a topographical plane. We utilize it as such, like for almost everything that we do. For transportation, for civil engineering, we actually build that way. We fly planes that way. Like we have to utilize it as a plane. We actually measure elevation vertical, perpendicular to a horizontal baseline is the sea level, the horizontal datum, and it goes on and on. There are many evidences that we live on a plane, but it is the default position. Therefore, just logically speaking, to claim that the antithesis of that is true, right, the opposite of that, it has the burden of proof. I don't really think that JERAN is denying that. I think he's saying that he thinks it's been satisfied. But the only issue is that if you didn't go to satisfy that burden, it cannot be an articulation of an appeal to incredulity because you don't understand how it works on a flat Earth. It can't be, well, if I assume the Earth is a globe, this makes perfect sense. It makes more sense to me than whatever I would think of a flat Earth. I had reified a model prior to this, and therefore, since it doesn't work with the reification of my prior model, it can't be flat, it must be globe. These are just fallacious, and this is the very issue that's got us into this free-falling through an infinite vacuum infinitely at 66,600 miles per hour nonsense that we currently were told is true. This is the very line of reasoning that got us into the ever-expanding Copernican model that people believe to be true. Now, I don't know Jaren's specific position now. I don't know if he's geocentrist or not, etc., but we're talking specifically more about the shape. Is it a globe is the question. So I'm going to list off some evidences. I just want to make that very clear that, like, on its face, a stationary topographical plane is the default position based on empirical evidence. The antithesis of that would be that it's actually a globe, that it's a sphere, that the Earth is spinning convexly at a certain rate, and therefore it has the burden of proof. And if you point to the sky and say, well, if we were on a sphere, when I get over to the other side of it, everything would be upside down. And since this stuff looks upside down, therefore the Earth has to be a sphere, because I can't understand how that would work on a flat Earth. That isn't a sufficient argument. That is affirming the consequent, shifting the burden, reifying your model, begging the question, and more importantly, it's just an appeal to incredulity. That's what it is. So that's why I don't resonate with it at all. So I'll list off some of the evidences of how we know that it is flat.
Wow. Has anyone ever seen like a systematic point-by-point destruction of someone's opener? Oh, Flat Earth Dave says there's echo. Oh, there's no more echo on my end in any way. I mean, that kind of systematic destruction, point by point, and exposing JERAN's fallaciousness. I mean, WITSIT was polite about it, but I mean, that was point by point evisceration. I mean, I know a lot of people like Andrew from the Crucible, and they think he's like this incredible debater. I mean, he's good. He's really good. But I've never seen such systematic point by point destruction that Austin WITSIT is bringing to the table here. I mean, again, regardless of the conclusion, and notice how he said those things don't actually prove flat Earth. Or even though it would be the default based on your empirical observation and experience, he didn't say that it was actually 100% true narcissistically, or claim to be the sole arbiter of truth based on his observations like JERAN did. I mean, notice the difference just in the narcissistic differences between these two individuals. Like, that's very telling. Yeah, I'm getting exhausted I'm exhausted just from looking at the tally of JERAN's opener, and then even Austin's rebuttal, just the amount of point-by-point destruction here.
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT! That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
The fall enslaves us all, but Austin knows JERAN has a point about the path of the sun. Does he, though? Like, what is the sun? Is it a hologram? And how does he have a point? Did you just get here? How does he have a point if you don't know where you are making your sun observation in relation to the other continents and the other continent sizes in relation to each other. And I had all the real size comparison, or the alleged real size comparisons at the beginning here. Zetetic says, WITSIT is 100% the best in the flat earth space, debate-wise, no contest. Yeah, Fallen Slaves Us All says, just got here. Make sure you watch from the beginning. Vern Smith says, you can spend a week on Austin's channel and feel like you got a free college course. I mean, what I do, I'm simply pointing out preschool level logic here. Preschool, elementary school, maybe some middle school. Like, I don't even really get it super advanced with anything. And goofs are melting down. Look at Twitter, the amount of goofs melting down on Twitter in Flat Earth. Like, just the past 2 days, there were 2 new spiralers. Like, their projection cope spirals, like, nonstop. Like, it's crazy. Just, like, pointing out preschool level logic and English comprehension. I mean, there's so many supposedly functioning adults that are just not there. They're just not there. All right, hopefully there's no further echo, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna try to get at least past his opener before we end this part, but I'm getting exhausted with this one. Is anybody else getting exhausted by the sheer amount of fallacies and then the point-by-point refutation for just about every single one of them from JERAN? And this isn't even the refutation part. This is just Austin's opener.
It is a default position. Any positive claim requires the burden. And I actually don't resonate with people that just say stuff in the sky doesn't matter. And they throw their hands up, and I can understand even JERAN's frustration with that, because I don't resonate with that at all. I think that we should always try to understand the way that things work. We should always seek out answers. We shouldn't try to look at this as some type of little gotcha game where we don't have to answer that, haha. But it is true that just because I observe a celestial phenomenon, it doesn't then make all other evidence dissipate. Right, so when we look at the preponderance of evidence, we have to stay logically consistent, and we have to see what the empirical evidence actually says, and then we go and test it, and we see what the answer is. We don't throw out 95% of evidence because there's 1 or 2 or 10 outliers that we don't know how to apparently explain. So I would say one of the really strong pieces of evidence that we don't want to plane is something that we recently found out, which is if you actually take angle measurements to stars, say from a ground, from the surface of the Earth, you're going to see that the star gets occulted by the mountain. As soon as that moment happens, you can take the time, you can measure that angle, and you can compare it to the angle of, like, say, in Stellarium. At that exact time you took the time measurement, as soon as the star was occulted, you can then go to the mountain, compare that angle, and it is as if it is planar geometry, it matches perfect. The flat Earth prediction to that star matches perfect, whereas the globe, it would be an entirely different position, many degrees different, and the issue is that they would then have to try to claim refraction, but the star has already been occulted prior to the measurement, so refraction can't even be applicable. So the actual occultation of the star in relation to topography, and the guy that initially went and made this measure was a glober. He went out there and he saw that the prediction is, you can predict it perfectly with flat Earth, doesn't match the globe at all, and refraction didn't work. He ended up leaving the globe. So it's a very similar experience to what JERAN experienced, only he went the other way. Right. So that just is a piece of evidence, and there is no sufficient rebuttal I've heard for the globe. We can also talk about the linear distribution of the electrical field. We actually have an electrical field on the Earth, and it's a linear distribution, horizontal field lines of the electrical field. This cannot happen. It has to be a radial distribution on a sphere, and it would actually fall off exponentially away from the center, but that's not what we observe. We don't observe that. The linear distribution of the electrical field is a major issue. It's an impossibility on a sphere, right? So what typically happens, I'm guessing that we're getting close to my time. So, all right, I got 2 more minutes. So what typically happens is it is what we've always experienced, and this is why I will be very blunt. I'm quite perplexed about Jaren's approach. Like I was there with him. To all the people that are saying that he's faking it, he's not. I was there. I am in no way going to attack Jaren's character in terms of if I think that he believes this or if he's being honest. I think that he does believe it. He does feel like he's being honest, and he feels that he's willing to take shots and attacks to do it. So that aside, because it doesn't really matter. Take all the personal stuff out of it. We're trying to figure out actually like what the truth is. Yes, I went to the south. We went to what is seemingly Antarctica, a giant sheet of ice south from Punta Arenas. We saw the sun, and it circled around us, and it didn't go down. So then, to claim that proves that it's a globe, I would have to say, if the Earth's a sphere, in the winter, when I go to Antarctica, the sun will be in the sky for 24 hours. Oh, look, sun stays in the sky, does a circle for 24 hours, therefore Earth's a globe. It's a textbook affirming the consequent. Textbook affirming the consequent fallacy. I could say Sasquatch delivers me mail every Friday. I could go find out that there's mail in my mailbox on Friday, therefore Sasquatch is real. To apply that type of
Oh man. Wow, Austin breaking out the Bigfoot mailbox fallacy. That's definitely a zinger. Oh man. Yeah, I brought I don't know if that was a wink at me, Austin, but yeah, I came up with that one with because of Craig, because Craig's I think it was his Felicia whatever nonsense. All you have to do is make a prediction. If the prediction is true, your theory is true. So the original Bigfoot mailbox fallacy is, yeah, if Craig, according to Craig, if you predict that there's going to be mail in your mailbox at a particular day or time, and then if it's there, and you predicted Bigfoot left it, then it had to have been Bigfoot, and because the prediction itself came true, it couldn't have been, like Craig doesn't believe in the scientific method or controls or anything, so it couldn't have been the mailman, it couldn't have been Mothman, it couldn't have been Poltergeist, it couldn't have been your neighbor, that got mixed up mail. It had to have been Bigfoot because the prediction was Bigfoot. Oh, man, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. Oh, man. But, yeah, no, the zingers, the other two zingers were Austin just pointed out how JERAN shifted the burden of proof, but he went point by point so systematic. That systematic destruction was crazy. And then the second one was where he said you're going to throw out everything just because of some kind of outlier, unexplained situation. Similarly, like if you're in your house and you hear like a creaky door and like you didn't see anybody move the door and you put DW40 or whatever on the door previously and it still creaked, you're not going to automatically switch to believing in ghosts and it couldn't have been something else just because you can't explain why the door creaked. So that was pretty, I mean, that's a zinger. That's pretty embarrassing for JERAN. Not that he needs any, help embarrassing himself. I mean, his opener speaks for himself. I mean, look at these numbers. We've never seen these kinds of numbers in an opener alone. We've just never seen them. I mean, these numbers put Sartain to shame. I mean, these numbers put Craig to shame. I mean, JERAN's numbers, I mean, even though, like, there's no, he didn't zinger himself or anything he didn't dinger himself like Craig often does, but yeah. Flat Bob says, apparently it gets worse. Yeah, I don't know, I can't, there's only, I'm literally, I've never been this exhausted before.
logic. It is an infinite regression. You would never find truth. So this is the reason why I haven't flipped. It's because of the empirical evidence. And we could list them off and it's endless, right? Just again, the base empirical position, the default position based on empirical evidence that the Earth's flat. How are we even actually making accurate elevation angle measurements in the center of a continent if we're using a horizontal data on a horizontal baseline that starts at the sea that's thousands of miles away? We extend that horizontally to the center of a continent and then measure vertical distance above that, perpendicular to it. How is it that planar geometry is perfectly predicting and matching the angle to that star once it's occulted by the mountain and matches the based on the time of the observer standing on the top of the mountain, you can draw a straight line from observer to top of the mountain to star, and it perfectly matches an angle down to a horizontal baseline with planar geometry, where it's significantly different on a globe, but yet the star's not where it's supposed to be, and we can't invoke refraction because it's after the star is occulted. So I will say, basically, what always happens is people say, well, then how would this work, this work, this work, this work? And if I don't get my answers, then you lose Earth the globe, as if we are to grant them the presupposition of a model that they have reified. That is not how it works logically. So yes, in conclusion, the Earth default position is as a stationary topographical plane. The burden of proof is on the other side. It needs to prove it. And when there's direct geometric refutations to that claim, they cannot be hand-waved because there's another celestial observation that you think is better explained by that model that was just refuted. Right? We can't actually skip over to that part. So that is very simply my position, and I think that is it's based on the logical parameters of how we actually examine the discussion in the first place. So.
And
cool.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of double exhausted because I've also, like, WITSIT is really on point here. I've also never seen WITSIT be this systematic point by point. I mean, it's, yeah, this is really tough. This might be, it's kind of crazy because just the, I don't know, WITSIT, I wouldn't call this gloves off WITSIT, but it does seem like WITSIT, because he was handling, like, most of these other debates, like, he was kind of handling these goofs with kid gloves. Here, it seems like he's not really putting in a lot of filler here. It's just all systematic point-by-point destruction. Flat Earth Dave says, how is your lie detector AI program coming? It's good. It just crashes a lot. So I'm just, I'm just trying to get a little bit more stable. But if I have time this weekend, I actually will. I do plan on doing a test run this weekend. And if it goes well, like, I'll live stream it. Probably Sunday. And if that goes well, then I could just bring it up on anything, on any video, because it's overlay. That's also why it glitches a lot, because it's like literally real-time overlay. All right, let me just catch up on some of the comments. And yeah, I know this wasn't super long. It was only 90 minutes, but like, this is exhausting. I had no idea JERAN would do this. Like, I actually thought, like, again, just my assumption, my presupposition is that he would lean more into obfuscation instead of just flat out, like, point by point humiliation. And then WITSIT was really on point. This is like Jordan putting up like an easy 50 here. Like, it's crazy. Yeah, I wonder if we're going to get double records here. I wonder if Austin's going to set the record for Zinger. Yeah, and if anybody has a debate where I kind of want to see Austin actually go like 100% at his opponent. Maybe he'll do that here. Like, to just unleash just complete logical destruction on somebody. Because we've seen that in little spurts here and there. I forgot the first video I saw him in, but like, I saw one of those spurts where he just completely exposed fallacies point by point, like just really quickly and succinctly. I've never seen anybody do that quite like that before. Usually it's like one fallacy at a time. Like, even college professors, like, they don't have this kind of speed, and they can't sustain it. Sphinx Bear says, funniest thing is Austin was running the summit while doing the debate. Lord Zed says, I've read about 7 layers of heaven before. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different ones. If you check out the Hollow Earth series, I actually mention a couple of those in different spiritual systems. Zetetic says, one of WITSIT's best debates. Cool. Well, now that I kind of know what I'm in for, I can prep. You know, I'll bring extra water next time. And then I was, the overlay here with the fallacy counters and everything was glitching out hardcore for some reason. And I had to, like, double the code on it for no reason, and just, yeah, there's a lot of errors. So hopefully next time we can come, you know, we could start on time and get a little further. I know I missed a couple questions here. Oh, Bill asked, what profession were you in or college classes you took? Oh, that's an interesting question. I believe my history, did I re-upload like my history with geocentrism podcast? Oh, I don't think I did. Okay, so that was on the old channel. I actually went over my background on that one. Let me see here. I got a schedule to re-upload that one. Let's see. Huh, I don't see it here. Or was it on a live... Was it on a live or a Flat Earth Live Q&A? Maybe the last one. Okay, it's not up. I'm gonna upload it. Yeah, I'm gonna do it right now. So I'll air it probably tomorrow. And that'll go over... Yeah, okay, so that was not uploaded. Okay, I didn't re-upload that one. So I'll upload that tomorrow, and that I go over some of my history there. I may or may not have taught in levels of academia or quackademia as they are known. All right, final points here. I'm going to wrap this up. Zach says, WITSIT is good, but he still hangs out with the debunked Circle Sun Map crew, which is the whole point of these debates. Waste of time. Don't get caught up in the shield trap. Does he claim that? I haven't seen him claim any particular map. WITSIT in the chat says never. Yeah, why are you saying... Yeah, why... Wait, who said that? Let's see. Oh, Zach says that. Zach W. Yeah, I mean... Yeah, I mean, the other thing that I like that WITSIT goes over is geocentrism and the ether, because those are critical points. On the podcast where I go over my background a little bit, I'll upload that. That'll be back online tomorrow. So watch out for that tomorrow, and I go over some of this stuff. But you really can't be in a position to discuss physics or any kind of scientific debate, really, if you're going to be invoking relativity or gravity in any capacity, if you don't know the history of the development of those theories. So you have to go into the history. So yeah, and then WITSIT caught some stuff that, like, I hadn't even seen before. Like, even certain things with, just in the history of the development of gravity as well. He pointed me to some of Isaac Newton's writings, and he caught some really interesting things. So WITSIT definitely does his homework with a lot of this stuff. So I don't think you can necessarily say, oh, he talks to so-and-so people who are kind of using a certain map. I think, and Flat Earth Dave can mention this too, like, I don't know, does Flat Earth Dave claim any particular map either? Like, it seems like he uses it for convenience to explain a basic Flat Earth concept, not that the map itself is accurate. But, you know, Flat Earth Dave can speak on that if he's still in here, but I'm going to be wrapping this up in a minute. Zetetic says the Gleason map is time and longitude map, nothing more. Vern Smith says, I think Gleason's is a good start. Yeah, I mean, you could use certain things for simplicity. I mean, scientism does it all the time. I mean, look at most science textbooks. They don't, I mean, sometimes there'll be notes about how this isn't even accurate, but it's illustrating a point. Flat Earth Dave says, yes, the AE map is as close as we have, other than possibly the moon map. Yeah, the moon map is interesting. We've gone over that a lot. But yeah, what's curious is, like, even the scientism maps, like, a lot of times there's notes about them not being accurate either. They're just illustrating certain points. So it's kind of weird to say, oh, it's either completely accurate or not accurate at all. Like, that's not the point. You're just visualizing concepts until more can be verified. So Groupthink Skeptic says, the linear electric field strength is the clincher in my mind. All right, so yeah, thanks everybody for joining us. I will try to obviously, finish this one up as soon as possible, so there's not going to be, like, incredibly long periods of time between episodes. So I will try to do part 2 and part 3, or it depends on how many parts. Like, I'm not, if this is gonna be like a 12-parter, it's gonna take some time. But if we can get this one done, and maybe, well, let's see how far we got. We didn't get far. We got 22. Oh, that's not bad. We got 22 minutes in. So there's about an hour 50 left. So we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're looking at about 5 or 6 parts here if we maintain pace. 5 or 6 parts. So we might be able to get this done in about a week and a half. Maybe 2 weeks. So yeah, we'll do part 2 in a couple days, every couple days, and maybe I'll even do back-to-back days, depending. But yeah, I do want to finish the AI lie detector. It is very accurate. So it's 80 to 90% plus. So yeah. All right. Well, hope everybody found it interesting, entertaining, and educational. If you want to help support the podcast, help Logic and Reason return to a world where it's quickly going extinct, you can donate to our PayPal. Check the link in the description. Make sure you're subscribed, like, and share. Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, and Patreon. This is Bruce McGuire signing off. Catch you guys next time.